All right, coming off of a big visit weekend for the Colorado Buffaloes, we got Breck Kolojay now joining the show, 4-star interior offensive lineman from IMG. What's up, Brett? Good to meet you, man. Thanks for joining.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Of course, of course.
Yes, sir. It's good to see you, my boy. Obviously, coming off a pretty big weekend with, we were talking to Jay Cruel yesterday, your good friend, your IMG teammate. He gave us kind of his insight, his perspective from things. But from your kind of point of view, how would you kind of describe this past weekend in Boulder for your official visit, being around the program, the coaching staff, the players, and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really special visit, and for me, like the way they're treating me like a priority is crazy because now they're competing with some of the blue bloods that have been recruiting me hard, and it's always good to come back home and see my family, and see all the coaches, and it was just overall a fantastic visit, and I didn't expect anything less from them.
With that, you're obviously a Colorado, hometown kid. I'm just curious, did you grow up a CU fan? Did you grow up going to games at all? Just what's your relationship with the program just growing up here in the state?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've never really ever watched CU football games when I was younger. I've always been my parents are East Coasters, so I've always been a Pats fan. Watched Alabama when I was younger, but never really have been a CU fan. But I kind of knew about it, but I didn't know how rich the history was. And so for me, I keep learning about the program every single day. So, they have a really rich history, and I feel like what they can do in a couple of years will be special. So.
Most definitely, my guy. What do you obviously this recruiting staff has kind of made an emphasis to recruit you guys from IMG. Obviously, Jordan Seaton last year, Cash Cleveland as well, Alexander McPherson and London Meriter in the mix now. What do you think prepares you guys from IMG to be so ready to play right away and be impactful as true freshmen?
So like you said, the proof is in the pudding. Those guys, they're already balling out in college, and at IMG, the way we do things is different than any other high school in the nation. Um, the way we practice, the way our schedule is, you have to be locked in. Like, and if you're not locked in, bye, see ya. I've been at IMG for 3 years now, and I've seen probably 4 or 5 kids who they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the discipline, the structure, the competitiveness, and they ultimately ended up leaving. So, there's a sense of work, and I mean, just the proof is in the pudding. Like I said again, everyone that I played with last year is in college, and they're already with the twos or the ones, and they're already balling out, and they're
Thanks.
incoming freshmen. So the way we do things is different. The way we practice, our preparation, and obviously our schedule is different too. We play the top teams in the nation.
Yeah. I mean, what you just said, basically describes Jordan Seaton. He became a Buff, was the first IMG guy to do that a couple of years ago. I'm just curious, what have those conversations been like with him, with Alex, with London about their experience so far at CU? What have you learned from them?
Yeah, so I remember when I was a sophomore, when Seaton committed, it really surprised all of us. Kind of, no one expected it. Which he put CU on the map after that. But yeah, I mean, I've talked to Seaton a couple times, and we've been on FaceTimes and stuff with our old line coach. But yeah, I mean, he said nothing but great things. I really want to see how the offensive line does this year and how they can run the ball and run it effectively. Because that's huge for me. But talking with Alex and London, like those two, those are my guys. I won against them every day in practice. Big emphasis of iron sharpens iron at IMG. But they said they love it there, and the way CU run things is pro style. All the coaches know what it takes to go to the NFL. So.
Most definitely. Like I said, Breck, we were talking to your boy Jay Cruel yesterday, and he mentioned that a group of you guys were hanging out at Juju's house, Julian Lewis's crib, over the weekend. What was that experience like, just getting to hang with him, and kind of what were you able to just glean from him, from his experience early on these first few months here in Boulder?
Yeah, I mean, I've known Juju for a couple of years now, seen him on the recruiting trail kind of. So, it's always cool catching up with him. Just seeing his success is really impressive. And, as an offensive lineman, like, it makes you happy when you see that you have such a good quarterback. So for me, I definitely want to go to a school where they have that quarterback structure and foundation, because that your quarterback can trust you and you can trust your quarterback. So I feel like that relationship from offensive line to quarterback is huge, and that's already been built. So yeah,
Definitely.
Breck, you're a Colorado kid. Deacon's a Colorado kid. He was out there with you guys on those OVs last weekend. Just curious, what's the appeal for maybe you and him, or maybe just you, to be a hometown hero? Consider Colorado in your recruitment this far at the stage we're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, if they get me and Deacon, that would be a really big win for them. I have no clue where I'm at with my recruitment right now. I don't really have top schools. I don't have a list. I have schools that I like, that I know I want to take visits to. Like, all the schools I'm taking official visits to are all contending in my recruitment. So Colorado's obviously contending in my recruitment, and they've been trending upwards for me ever since my visit. But yeah, I mean, that would be a huge get, and they just got to keep on the gas pedal, and we'll see what happens.
I asked Jake this when we spoke to him a couple of days ago, but what is it that you're looking for, for the school that you want to commit to, spend the next 3 to 4 years after this season at? What is it that you're really looking for when these schools are trying to recruit you?
Big culture is big. Somewhere where, if coaching changes happen, stuff happens, shit hits the fan, excuse my language, but they can, that they're steadying the boat. So, nothing ruins cultures. Everybody lifts each other up. And like a huge thing I'm looking for as a recruit is, what's the school's plan with me? Where do they see me playing? How do they see me developing into? What type of player do they think I am? So it's just kind of questions that I've had answered throughout my recruiting process, and culture, and then obviously I want to know what the locker room is like. I want to fit into a locker room. I don't want it to be negative energy. I feel like every good locker room is competitive and also loving at the same time. They're your brothers, and I learned that a lot going to IMG, because I came here knowing no one, and I've created brothers for life just from my relationships and process throughout the IMG Academy. But yeah, like something like that.
For sure. Breck, you mentioned there, kind of in their answer there, just about the plan, right? The plan that a program has for you. And I was listening to your appearance yesterday on Matt McChesney's pod. Shout out 60 Academy, who I know you do a lot of great work with. But you were talking a little bit about that in terms of the plan. You really like that they kind of had a plan laid out for you. And I think you mentioned that involved playing center. What was kind of your just thoughts on their plan for you, potentially you playing center and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, they see me as an interior offensive lineman, mainly center, just because the way I command the game. Like, for me, really, I know everything. I know my stuff. And I've said this before, you probably heard, I'm the smartest player in my class at offensive line. It's not just physical, but it's brain. And that's the number one thing that, really talented players, some that will affect them from playing early. They just don't have the brains.
Yeah.
So for me, I understand football really well. And the leader of the offensive line is a center. So that's why they see me there. But honestly, they told me I could play all five.
Most definitely.
Love that. Obviously you train with Matt. I'm sure you've learned a lot from him, but I'm just curious, who have been like your mentors throughout this process? And also, who do you watch like on film? Who do you try to mold your game off of?
Yeah, my mentors throughout this process would definitely be my family, mom and dad. My parents are always holding me to the highest standard. That's just how I was raised. I wasn't raised in a soft household. Everything I had to do, I had to earn something. But I think for them, holding me to that standard has kind of created me to the man who I am today. I'm nowhere near my ceiling yet, but I can get a glimpse of what I can do just by the hard work and the process, and God's gift and all that stuff. But yeah, that's what I would really say. And what I model my game after is I really watch a lot of players. I really love Zach Martin, the way he plays, his tenacity, his technique. I really like Quinn Miners for the Broncos, Linderbaum, a couple other guys. But I try to watch those guys, and just the speed of the game they play at, with the technique they play at, and the anger and the violence they play at is really what I model my game after.
Love that.
Most definitely. Breck, Colorado's offensive line coaching situation is a bit unique, right? Because they have multiple kind of coaches. leading that room. Obviously, Gunnar Wright, Andre Gerard as well. What are kind of your thoughts on that kind of juxtaposition of that offensive line room in terms of the coaching staff? Like, how do you kind of see that potentially being an asset to have, more than one guy to be able to kind of bounce ideas off of and kind of learn from?
Yeah, I mean, the experience in that room is they all have a ton of experience, whether it's coaching experience or playing experience. So I feel like just getting different views of football, and not even football, but life too. They've all been through life experiences from, 3 different people. That's pretty special, and that's something you don't really see at the next level. But, for me, like, I love how they utilize how the different drills they teach. They all, they all sprinkle the infield with their own type of drills. And, I want to see how they do this season, like I said again, but I want to see how they utilize that 3-0 line coach system. And I've seen a little, and or my parents have seen a little, because I was there before they hired Coach Dre. But I definitely, they said it was all good, but yeah, it's a cool system how they utilize those 3 coaches.
Yeah.
Breck, you obviously have a busy summer. I mean, you came to Colorado on that OV. You got a few more coming up. I'm just wondering, they going to be able to get you back out here for a game this fall?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I don't really have a timeline to commit yet. It's just, whenever it feels right, it feels right. But that definitely could be a possibility. I'll just have to see with my schedule. But, as of now, ain't nothing wrong with a trip back home to see the family and go to a Buffs game. So
love it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And you're going to have a good time too. So we love that, bro. I think that's all we got for you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you hopping on. Best of luck with your recruitment and everything. And hopefully we'll see you out here soon, man.
Definitely.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Good seeing you,
Thanks,
Breck.
man.
Appreciate you,
Take
bro.
care.